Hey guys, Sableye here, and welcome back to the channel. Today we are debuting a new project sort of thing that we're going to be going on till the release of Scarlet and Violet. We're going to be doing some best of threes versus other content creators, and today we are I'm very excited to have Joel, NinoPokeBros themselves here against us here tonight. He is going to bring that Series 13 shit into. So guys, this is going to be a bunch of different formats really quickly. Just bunch of different formats getting for you guys, just leading up with some best of threes versus other content creators on the channel. That is the gist of the series, but of course Nino gonna be that guy, gonna bring the Shedinja, and honestly I'm not super surprised. I mean, I got the Yveltal, I brought the Yveltal for it, but the honestly the Magearna beside it's kind of deterring me here. So looking English tough, language hard. Looking super forward to this match, and of course guys, if you aren't already following Nino, subscribe to Nino, whatever support you need to do, all those links will be in the description, so definitely check them out. But with that, let's actually figure out what we want to do here. So okay, Venusaur is my lead. I think it has to be. If I get my vines up, the Shedinja is useless. If I get my Groudon on the field, I outpace and I kill the Zacian because I'm life orb. Honestly, the scariest thing is probably something like Whimsicott Calyrex or Whimsicott Zacian. Probably become the most problematic things, and I think what I do is I go Victini for that reason. And I go Groudon and I go Zacian. Not having a Lecky is a little odd, but I think I should be able to make do. Because the scary part for me is basically having Zacian one-shot my Venusaur. And as long as I think I can avoid that, we're okay. And I don't think I know for sure Zacian can't one-shot Victini as long as we're in the sun, and I'll be faster. So there's no real issues there. So if they lead something like Kyogre Zacian, I have Victini in the back. But this is where things get a little dicey. This is where things get a tad bit dicey. Now, them leading the Calyrex is probably the scariest thing they could have done. I think I just launched the vines straight into Calyrex anyways. Now the question becomes, do I want to switch in? And I think the answer has to be yes, because you know they're clicking Tailwind, right? I want these vines up, and I think they're clicking Tailwind. I go into Groudon because it covers for the fact that if they try to like switcheroo eject button or something like that, at least very worst case scenario, my vines are going off. And Groudon will be switching out. Actually, if they hard switch Cali into Ogre, but then it doesn't matter, because then they're not doing anything. If they hard switch Caught into Ogre, that becomes concerning because my Victini is Choice Scarf. So a little bit unlucky there for us if they go for something like that, because then the Calyrex is still faster. But I don't think Calyrex can one-shot a Max Venusaur anyways, unless it's like Life Orb and they match themselves for the Mindstorm. But even then, I'm hoping Venusaur should be able to tank it. So as long as I'm in the sun here, my vines are going up, and once the Vine Lash is up, I'm pretty content here. Obviously, they'll bring in their... Oh, they're actually are they actually gonna go for it? Good play, good play, good switch. I respect it. I respect it a lot. But like I said, the vines are up. And the vines going up here for me are really, really nice. I mean, like I said, the vines are up unless this Calyrex decides to miraculously pull off some sort of play that's going to manage to take down my Venusaur. And I don't think they have something along those lines. And my next play is now pretty telegraphed, where I can max guard, sack my Victini, and bring in Groudon. But it does get a little bit annoying. It does get a tad bit annoying if they're smart enough to keep and honestly, Nino should be smart enough to keep their Kyogre alive, right? So I Vine Lash here, obviously not going to take out knockout here, but actually never mind. One more guard and Calyrex is gone, which is really, really nice. So I definitely guard 100% of the time. The only question is, do I decide and try to save my Groudon? I want to say no. I think I just sacked Victini here. But at the same time, Groudon took a lot of damage from that. Either way, it's definitely a max guard for me. I think it has to be sack Victini, right? As much as I don't want to lose the Victini, Groudon is keeping the sun and winning this weather war is way more important. Also, I don't think we could have asked for a better weather war, a better matchup to start the Series 13. Just weather versus weather, you know? And like pretty different variants of it too, right? They've got the Shadow Rider and the Kyogre. We've got the Groudon and the Yveltal. Obviously, they've got the... we both have the Zacian, but I think Zacian's pretty much a staple for the Series 13 meta, you know? It's like, If you can have, before it was like, you know, maybe everybody's kind of countering Zacian, there's no real need for it. But now it's one of those things where it's like, well, there's no slots. I'm not restricted to only 2. I'm not restricted to only 1, right? You might as well just roll in, have a Zacian, and roll with that. So this is going to be max Kyogre here, and this is where the game gets interesting because I need to, 1, figure out if it's Life Orb, 2, figure out who they're targeting here, and 3, looks like they left Calyrex on the field. Calyrex is going to go down, and that means Tailwind is going to be down. Very, very likely from my from the next turn. So it's a little shaky here. Barrage, beautiful. I'm okay with that. Now, I lose Victini to this. I don't really care. I don't need the Victini. Like I said, I was bringing it in as a sacrifice anyways. Calyrex is going to go down. And that's all I really care because the vines are starting to put pressure on, right? Unfortunately, I don't get to see if they're Life Orb or not. And that's going to make this game super annoying. Because if they're Life Orb, Hailstorm's going to kill me. If they're not Life Orb, I don't think Hailstorm kills me. And if Hailstorm's not going to kill me, I get another Vine Lash into the Ogre. That's assuming they may not even have... That's assuming they even have Hailstorm. I think I want to go Zacian. I think I go straight to... You know what? No, I go straight to Groudon. Because by the off chance they bring in their Zacian, which they won't. But on the off chance they did, it would have worked out for me here. And now at least this way we can go hard into Zacian, save the Groudon, keep my weather. And like I said before, guys, it literally is going to come down to... 1, I could still outspeed because we're in the sun. And 2, do I live a Hailstorm? And I don't have answers to that. Like, I just have to try to live. I already max guarded. I'm not going to hard switch in. I hard switch in Zacian over on this side, I believe. But I think Nino might have the best of me here for game 1. I don't think I did super good job with my weather there. That was a good play on their end, switching an Ogre immediately. I fell behind to that Calyrex early, and I just shouldn't have. I really shouldn't have. I should have let a Veltal, but I didn't want to lead it right into the Zacian. There's the Tailwind. So this is going to be a massive turn. It's basically, do I outspeed or do I live? I don't think I do outspeed. That's massive. So that is massive damage into Kyogre. That looks to be AV. It took that very well considering I'm Life Orb. Seeing AV though, it's probably going to... Oh, it's the Geyser. That's perfect. That is fine by me. Zacian can keep that since we're in the sun. It's a little shaky. I'm going to be completely honest with you guys. The end game is still very, very shaky. But knowing in the sun we outpace Kyogre is amazing to me. Because I can Leaf Storm and just drop it here. Get the sun back up, a Leaf Storm, and drop the Kyogre. Now the question is, do I want to do that? Because I could also Sleep Powder it. But I think my best play is just get the sun up and get rid of the Kyogre. I don't see a reason not to do this. I don't think Whimsicott can take a KO on any of them, on any of my pieces here. Like, yeah, Moonblast is going to hurt into my Venusaur, but at the end of the day, I'm okay with that because then I at least have Groudon and Venu, and I put pressure on with a Sleep Powder. So they have to hit the Venu. And with them having to hit the Venu the following turn, I should be able to get Groudon and Zacian to win the game. Or if they hit the Groudon and Sleep Powder, and then I should still be okay to win the game. So it's a little shaky, but seeing AV Kyogre makes this game a little bit easier for me in the long run. Obviously, it's a little harder to take down with my Venusaur, but I think it's a little bit better for me because I get the longevity now of not dying. So I'm simply not dying to that Hailstorm. So it's a little kind of, it's a positive and a negative, but I think the positive definitely outweighs the negative here. They are going to Tailwind again, which I don't know about. I feel like they forgot that they had the Tailwind up, or that Venusaur just maybe had nothing else to do. But either way, Kyogre's going to go down there, and that's massive. I get Groudon. And I think that's game. It's still dicey because, like I said, if there's Zacian here, it gets shaky, right? Now, it could still be the case of, does Zacian have enough health left to actually... Does Zacian have enough attack to kill Groudon, which I think it should from this range. I took way more than I wanted to from the... what move was that? The Astral Barrage earlier on, but I shouldn't have had to switch it in, right? I think Victini was just a bad bring from my end, right? I think bringing Victini was wrong, but if I can maneuver my way out of this game, I don't need to bring Victini game 2, and I think that's correct. Zacian can go ahead and protect. I think that is probably the optimal play. Now, the only good news here is they are stalling their own turns of Tailwind. Groudon takes way too much damage from that though. Venu's gonna go for the Sleep Powder. And P-Blade, of course, not going to go into there. I wish I would have clicked Heavy Slam. Or at least Heat Crash into this Whimsicott for bigger damage. But I think I need... Okay. I think I needed to go for that. So now I think the Blade goes into Venusaur. And I'm going to go into Zacian to eat the Energy Ball. And my game plan here is simply going to be trying to get Groudon onto the field where they can't click Energy Ball into it. It's a little shaky. And I know I've said that 9 times tonight, but like this whole matchup is a lot of where are they going with this Blade. If the Blade doesn't go into Veno and the Blade goes into the Groudon slot, we do potentially lose, but they've got to be scared of the Sleep Powder, yeah. They've got to respect the Sleep Powder, which is why I did that play. And then seeing Energy Ball allows Zacian to pretty much sit here pretty comfortably and not really worry too much. And their Tailwind is now gone. So in order to outpace Venu, they need to Tailwind. And I think their best play here would be to Tailwind. I go for the Sleep Powder anyways and I kill the Cot. Because they're going to Tailwind, they can only pick one. They either give me the Sleep Powder or they give me the knockout on Cot. And then Groudon can come back in regardless and still be okay. Alright, there's the Tailwind. They have to stop the Sleep Powder in my opinion. It should be stopping Sleep Powder. But we will see where they want to target here. They could also say we can try to dodge the Sleep Powder with this fair, but they're going straight into the Venu, which I respect. I don't need Venu anymore. I was minus a million. This game very well could potentially come down to who's going to kill them. If I can crit a Blades or not, or if single target Blades kills that here. It depends on how bulky they are. Or it comes down to, I think that I'm going to need a double. Actually, I think I do lose this. Because they hit Groudon every time, right? They should realize I'm AV. And they should just hit Groudon every single time. Right? As long as they hit Groudon here, I need a double to win now. Because there's only one, not that the sun matters, but the 3 turns of Tailwind, yeah. I'm going to need a double, and then I'm going to need to be faster. Unless they target the wrong slot and hit the Zacian here. Or I get the crit. There are options for me to win this game, but they should hit the Groudon every time. In my opinion, they hit the Groudon every time and it's GG. Yeah, there goes the Groudon, and unless I get lucky now, I'm losing this game. So hopefully I don't have to win this game on luck. I'd hate to have something like that, but I'm never gonna complain about a win. So obviously I'm gonna play to my out right here. But okay, Zacian for some damage, not quite enough. So here's the play. I need a double. Simple as that. I need a double protect, and then I need to be the faster dog. Now it's possible. And I'm going to go for it. It's my out at this point. I mean, it's not the out I wanted to play to, but I'm trying to think where I messed this up. I think the Energy Ball kind of caught me off guard. Also, the turn they protected Zacian was really, really well played. Had I gone for that, honestly, just the protect on Zacian turn to tie. Obviously, I go for a double protect and see if I can get it, but no. And that's honestly fine. I think they deserved that game off the double protect there, off their protect calling my Venu protect. And not getting hit by a Precipice Blade. Had I hit had I just taken down Whimsicott that turn, I would have been fine to win because they wouldn't have had Tailwind back up, and I should have been alright. But I did take the L there. Good game, game 1. Of course, we got 2 more, hopefully 2 more, I should say. But let's see. Like, I think I know what adjustments I want to make. It's more so the fact that when you play Sun versus Rain, it's a whole lot of you gotta get the turns right with the weather, and I started on the back foot by leading Victini. It was just never a good lead on my end, you know. I should have just never let it. So I'm gonna adapt now. Now they might make the adaptation and lead like something like Zacian, but I think this is the better lead on my end, right? It's kind of the same concept, but Victini did absolutely nothing. They could make the transition and go with Magearna here. But I think between Groudon and Zacian and me bringing Victini game 1, I don't think they have a reason to switch it up. So I think me leading a Yveltal here is probably ideal. I can also match Tailwinds with my Yveltal, which I think is something that I'm potentially going to be doing depending on what they lead. Like if they lead something like Caught Cali again, I will click Tailwind and probably Vine Lash turn 1. I don't see a reason or an issue with Dynamaxing turn 1. first off, it could have been a damage roll on that Calyrex because it did live with a little sliver of health after the Vine chip. So maybe it's a damage roll there. They could also try to switch it out. And just getting the Vines up is absolutely massive. Now the concern becomes if they lead something like that, did they change it up? Did they mix it up? Do they have Shedinja in the back? I doubt it. If you're bringing Calyrex Shedinja into an Yveltal potential lead. Now, they might have brought it because I'm not bringing Yveltal, but I do think Yveltal needs to come in this game. That is my adaptation here, because I kind of let Calyrex do too much, and then I let them get Tailwind up, and then I let Zacian finish me off. So as long as I can match Tailwinds, or maybe not let Calyrex do as much, I think I should be okay. But it's still a little bit shaky here. Like, I don't love this position that we're in here. And if they lead something like Zacian, we always have the immediate Groudon switch in, which is something I'm always happy with, you know. Not having Intimidate on this team is actually super rough. Like, I feel like Incineroar over Victini is just better. As much as I love Victini and as cool as Victini is, obviously it's Series 13, I was doing it in Mythical, right? But as much as I love Victini, it's one of those ones where it's not worth it. You know, it's like 90% of the time Victini just isn't worth it, especially in this matchup. I think I you know, jumped the gun a little bit on the Victini bring there. But so I think I match Tailwind and I just go for the Vine Lash. Like I said, I don't think they can kill Venu. I think Callie wants to switch out, and this is either going to damage the Ogre or it's going to damage the Zacian. And whatever I hit into, I'm super happy with. And even if it stays on and hits the Calyrex, I'm still okay with that. Especially if they just click Tailwind. Because if they click Tailwind and I click Tailwind, by all means, we're just clicking Tailwinds together. And that keeps me faster. That keeps my Venusaur faster than the Zacian in the back as long as Sun is up. Right? And it's just matching the speed control is super, super nice here. And I think they do want to switch out. Because why risk the Calyrex, right? But they're actually going to stay in. I respect it. Maybe a Protect. Protect Tailwind I could see, but like I said, I just match the Tailwind and then I just pivot out and take down, start taking things down here. I mean, I guess it becomes problematic if they do still have that Trick Eject button, but I don't think they would. I think if they had Trick Eject button, we would have seen it by now. Now, maybe I'm wrong and I've been wrong in the past, but they're going to go Helping Hand. Is this Saisha? Just Barrage, okay. Just the Barrage. Venusaur is going to take way too much right there. But like I said, I think the good thing is here that now I've matched Tailwind. Actually, they haven't even clicked Tailwind yet, I should say. Vine Lash is going up, but now I'm faster. I'm guaranteed faster, and I think that did enough this time to actually take out that Callie. So we get a little bit of a high roll there with our Vine Lash, which I'm not going to complain about. And if it can kill, we're gaming. Okay. So now they're forced to basically click Tailwind just to keep pace with my Venusaur now. So I can immediately swap a Yveltal out, bring in Groudon, and just kind of let Venusaur go crazy. Now the problem with that is if they bring in Zacian, no, but that doesn't matter, because if they bring in Zacian, which they're going to, even if they switch Whimsicott into Ogre, which I don't know if they will, because I feel like they just have to match Tailwind with me. I'm going to save Yveltal, I think. I go into Groudon, and I think I do just drop the Strike, or what's going to be the Flare into Zacian. So the question becomes, how does Whimsicott want to play this? Right? Because they could go Whimsicott out into Ogre again, which is what they did in Game 1, and it worked very well for them. Now, I could try to call that, but I don't think there's a reason to, because if they just give me the Zacian this way, it, I think, is a little bit more beneficial. Even if they switch in Ogre for the Cot and don't get Tailwind up, okay, yes, they're in the rain, but at least I've done some damage to Zacian. We have Groudon in Tailwind, and they don't have Tailwind up, and the Vine Lash chip as well is really going to come in handy there, but I think for the most part, they're going to try and match Tailwind, maybe Protect this turn, and then switch into Kyogre next turn. And I think that's probably their best play, but we'll see. No Protect, so Whimsicott's just going to Tailwind, but Venusaur's faster. Yeah, Venusaur's faster. The Max Flare is going to go out, and it should be able to take down Zacian here, no problem. Yep, goodbye Zacian, and with that, I mean, it's one of those ones where I kind of now have to sack something just to save Venu and reset my Sun, because I don't necessarily need Groudon, and it is Kyogre in the back, so this is still a little, not won yet, I should be saying, is probably the correct terminology there. I don't necessarily want to sack Zacian because I think Zacian in the sun, because we've won the Weather War, minus the fact that they can max Geyser, but Zacian in the sun should be fine. So I think I'd actually sack a Veltal and go for a max guard here. I don't have too many reasons to change it up. Like, this is the safest play. It stalls a turn of their potential Dynamax. If they're smart and don't max and Water Spout here, I think that's the correct play. But I do think they have to be scared of Venusaur to a certain extent. Like, they have to at some point say, yeah, hey, this Venusaur is going to be a problem. Right? Because it's, right now, I'm just sitting here. I'm legitimately just sitting here. I've got 2 more turns of Vine Chip into this Kyogre, which should leave it into play rough range after the Kyogre's Dynamax. And that's kind of what I'm playing to with this Zacian endgame right now. So what I'm going to do next turn is probably max Flare into the Whimsicott next turn. Sorry, or just max, or just Weather Ball into the Cot. It might be Sash because I don't know if Calyrex is or not. Because the Calyrex is doing a little bit too much damage in my opinion. And I don't think, but then again, they have a Shedinja as well. They can't all be Sash, right? So there's the max Ogre. This is fine. Like I said, I'm expecting to lose a piece. If they take a Veltal, so be it. They take a Veltal. It's probably best case scenario if they somehow don't take a Veltal. But this is going to be Geyser right into my Veltal slot. This back guard I don't think is going to pay off for me here. Yeah. Once again, a little bit too passive there with that guard, but I think it was my safest play. Like, yes, I lose a Veltal here, but now I get Groudon in for free. We both kind of have Tailwind up. I could, in theory, just Sleep Powder as well, which I'm almost a little bit tempted to do. So we both have Tailwind up right now. Do I actually go Zacian first, since we both have Tailwind up? I think I go Zacian first. And then have endgame Groudon. That's shaky at best as well. We both have Tailwind though, so I bring in Zacian, I think. Because the Venusaur, the Whimsicott can't protect, I don't think. So I'm gonna go for the Sleep Powder because I am faster. Because we saw when they were in Tailwind and we were in Sun, Venusaur was faster last game. So what that's gonna allow us to know is that, because now that we're both in Tailwind, let me double check this. Yeah, we're both in Tailwind. I should be faster than the Ogre. So I should be able to go Behemoth Blade and hit this Sleep Powder here. It's a little bit more of a riskier play because I am relying on a 75, but I do think it's the more optimal play because the other way I rely on damage rolls and then potentially and a little bit of calls, whereas this way it's more so I can basically shut down their Tailwind and still have my Sun for the late game. And Groudon into Sun will beat the AV Kyogre. That's not even in question here, and if I get the Sleep Powder, it should just be a W as well. So I'm not overly concerned. They've got that extra turn of Tailwind, which is shaky as well. So now if they go for something like, okay, that's fine. Are they Sash caught? This is where we get to find out, right? And this is good information as well going into game 3. This is problematic if they are Sash, but no, I didn't think so. No Sash on the caught. If they hit the Zacian and ignore the Venusaur, Venusaur gets another shot at Sleep Powder next turn. And I do miss the Sleep Powder, so I can't really blame myself for that. But losing Zacian is very, very, very shaky here. Now the problem's going to be I'm going to need to connect the Sleep Powder. I kind of put myself in a position now where I said, hey, I have to connect the Powder. But I think I'm okay with that because I've given myself 2 chances to hit a Powder. Whereas the other way, if I brought in Groudon first, it gets a little bit more questionable, I think, in the end game. Because like, if I miss 2 straight Powders, I mean I missed 2 straight Powders, right? There's not a lot that's really to be said about that. Anyways, I Precipice Blades for damage and I Sleep Powder for damage, for hopefully a no moving Kyogre this turn. Like I said, we're in the Sun. They might be in Tailwind for an extra turn, but it doesn't matter as long as I hit the Powder. All I need to do is stall out this 1 turn. I need to hit 1 Powder out of 2. If I hit 1 out of 2 Powders, we're good. We do hit this Powder. Kyogre is going to take a nap, and I'm quite content with this endgame. I mean, it was a bit risky. Like I said, it was the riskier endgame because I could have brought Groudon in first, switched Groudon out into Zacian, and just Weather Balled into the Whimsicott. And I think that was actually the optimal play, and I should have just gone with that. I don't know why I didn't. I for whatever reason, I created this path in my head where that was the way to go. What I'm going to do here is I think I Rock Tomb, because it guarantees my Groudon faster than Kyogre in the endgame, despite if I miss this Leaf Storm or not. I know I'm revealing a little bit more information than I would have liked with this rock team, but I do think it helps. And we are going to have to unfortunately reveal it. But at this point, honestly, I didn't think Leafstrom was going to do that much to AV Ogre. But Kyogre going to remain fast asleep, and with that sleep turn, that's definitely going to seal it, even if I do miss this rock team. But rock team's going to come out and take down the Ogre. So we're going to get ourselves a game 3 here, guys. And this is what a Weather War, I don't know, to me right now, this is just a good, just a good old-fashioned Weather War, you know? This is Kyogre, Groudon. I'm going to try to set Sun. You're going to try and keep the rain up, and we're going to go from there. And this is just, I don't know, this is just, when I think of, like, restricted formats, this is what I think of, right? So, definitely a good way to showcase Series 13, I think, right? Like I said, I think Victini is still kind of useless now, but I wonder if they're going to, try and adapt. I don't think Shedinja comes here, so if nothing else, I managed to make sure they didn't bring Shedinja. I do think we could see some sort of Magearna lead. But I think just leading I could lead Evildawn, but I don't think Evildawn works. I think Evildawn, Yveltal, Venusaur, Groudon, Zacian is my optimal line. Right? There's not a lot that they can go for. I did get piloted off the fact that I got a little bit of a higher roll into that Calyrex for the KO. Now, granted, it could have just been a low roll in game 1 and I got my mid roll here for the kill. I don't actually know that damage. It also is gonna, oh, they're locked in. They're locked in. Nino's ready to go. They are ready to go. They are ready to go. I'm gonna stop rambling. We got a match to play, guys. We got a game 3 to win here. I really don't think they're gonna go for too many adjustments. The only adjustment I can see is maybe them bringing Magearna. But yeah, they're gonna rock the same concept here. Now, I think I match Tailwinds. I don't have a reason to not click Tailwind here. Now, the only question is, do I want to max? I think I have to. I don't see a reason to not click the Dynamax button, you know? Like, I'm getting massive damage, and if Callie doesn't go off the field, I mean, that's just less that's just less pressure. Let me make sure this says Tailwind. It does say Tailwind, okay. And like I said, if Callie decides to, I could see Callie protecting. But if Callie protects and they leave the Callie on the field, it's just putting me in a position where a Veltal isn't forced off the field. And yes, they're stalling out max turns, and I respect that. I think it's a good play. But I feel like they're also putting themselves in a position to just lose win supply. And if I can get this down to a Zacian Ogre versus a Venusaur Groudon and my own Zacian, I should be able to win. Right? So I think if they protect here and they make that their... Oh. Well, I'm going to go ahead and say I wasn't... Oh, you know what? No. They're going to click Trick Room. He's going to prank me with the Trick Room. He's going to do it too. He's going to prank me with the Trick Room. And I think that's enough. Oh, no, he got me. No. You got me. What? That's just a good adaptation. Like, I can't even get mad at that. That's just a good play. Now, we'll have to see what they bring in, because like I don't think like we auto lose, right? Because Kyogre's here. Yes, I think I hard switch in Groudon, and I think I just Oblivion. I could Snarl actually, and I think snarling is my optimal play because they're gonna max Ogre. Ogre is their only maxer left, so I Snarl. And I bring in the Groudon. Yeah, I'm probably sacrificing Groudon. Probably losing my Weather War here. I could opt and just say, you know, max guard the Venusaur. I think that's an option as well I could have done. But I want to keep a Veltal alive. I want a Veltal to be able to click the Snarl button. I want a Veltal to be able to maybe do something in this endgame. That Trick Room was just so nice. I didn't even realize it until after they clicked Psyshock. They're going to Helping Hand, though. Without the Dynamax, so Snarl's actually going to get some respectable damage. But that's a very, very good turn to just click the Water Shell. This is going to hurt. Thankfully, though, that Sun going up is really, really nice. And we're going to get a nice little Snarl off, which means hopefully going to prevent them from Dynamaxing. And I think we may be in a position where we can still pull this one back. It's a little shaky because Groudon's taken a little too much damage here. I think I do launch a P-Blades, and I Oblivion Wing. Basically, Kyogre can't take both right now. So I Blades and I Oblivion Wing. Basically, if they want to switch into Zacian, the Blades is going to come off and connect. I do think they just Energy Ball the Groudon though, and I don't know if it's going to kill me or not. I believe it should be close to a roll. I was at like 140 and I lived on 30 something if I remember correctly, so it should be doing about 90, maybe 100-ish. It'll be close. It'll be close to killing this Groudon. I don't know if it does. I don't remember, but I don't have a better play. Yes, I'm losing my Groudon, but they can't kill a Veltal right now. And having my own Zacian versus their Zacian in the endgame is still fine for me, because Kot shouldn't be making it through this turn unless they switch. And if they switch, Zacian's taking massive damage here. So the Zacian is what's coming in. No adaptation outside of the Zacian from Nino's end here, or outside of the Trick Room, sorry. So no Pokemon adjustments, I should be saying, but I think we're fine. Whoa, I respect it. I respect it. You know what? They're making the right plays, because like, that is simple. There's no other way to put it other than they're making the correct plays, because that is a phenomenal play. You know, now not only do you potentially keep your Whimsicott alive, you also probably kill the Groudon now because of the max. And the Overgrowth, they were -1, so Groudon would have been able to tank it. But with this max, Groudon, come on, buddy. Groudon the gamer, let's go! I do think that was probably their best play. I do think that was their best play. And I think, thankfully, we are going to perfectly cover that. Zacian's going to go down to the vines at the end of the turn. We're going to get Oblivion Wing into what is Cobra Berry Whimsicott. I respect that because you catch them with the air streams, you click Trick Room. Really, really cool set. A really, really cool set. But now we get the Oblivion Wing. We're going to get some of our health back. The Cobra Berry is going to weaken the Kot. This is a little shaky. Zacian is going to go down to the vines, and I think that's the most important part. The scary part, on the other hand, is Ogre is still sitting here, potentially able to just win this game with like Water Spouts. This is not game over yet, because I still have a turn of Tailwind. On 2 more turns of Trick Room, neither of the 2 Pokemon on the field for me can click Protect. Or click Sucker Punch into to hinder off the Ogre. So it's more of a question of how do I want to pivot this, and I think I sack Venu of Veltal. Because there's 2 turns left of room, right? Yeah. I think I sack Venu and a Veltal. I go for the O-Wing into Whimsicott if I get it, because if I can get a KO, I get a KO. Venusaur at 9 HP isn't going to be good enough to win me this game, and we are super close in this end game. It's going to be a really down to the wire. But honestly, I don't think I could have asked for a better best of 3 to kick off the series. Groudon's going to come back. I don't know what the Kot wants to do. I think it's just a free Water Spout for them here. Origin Pulse, I respect it, right? They don't want to risk, I think the Origin Pulse is a little bit higher damage output right now. A Veltal's alive, and I mean, a Veltal shouldn't be dying here, and I think because of that, this should be game over, because they're only Overgrowth. And that information, knowing they're Overgrowth and just a Grassy with no Fairy move, keeps the Veltal alive right here. A Veltal will also be able to kill off the Whimsicott right now, and that puts me in a very nice position. We also know that Groudon is slower than the Kyogre, and there's 1 more turn of Trick Room. So I think, despite them pranking me on turn 1, I think we managed to pull this one back. I do think they were probably better off maxing their Ogre. But in that specific scenario, if they're under the assumption that Max Grass is going to take out Groudon, like if Max Grass kills Groudon, they win. There's no question mark. If Max Grass would have killed Groudon there, they had to win. There was no question whatsoever. Max Grass would have 100% taken, if it would have taken me out, they had to win. It's as simple as that. And I think they were going for that. I think maybe they were relying on that. But it was just one of those, that damage is going to be questionable. We're not sure what's going to come out from it. I Snarl if a Veltal manages to keep itself alive here, and I just drop a few Blades. This game's pretty much over at this point. I mean, I have a Zacian in the back for some Sacred Swords. But Groudon's just going to connect the Blades into the Kyogre. Unfortunately, not going to kill, so we're going to have to keep this going. But a Veltal going to dodge, Groudon going to dodge. Unfortunate for that Kyogre, but I can't help but wonder, can't help but believe, and if they double hit that, I do think we take that win. But absolutely fantastic game. And you know, really couldn't have asked for a better way to kick off this series. And this is just one of the reasons why I wanted to bring Nino into this series first, right? I knew I was going to get a great game out of it, much like the rest of the content creators that we have moving forward. But Nino just felt to me like You know, we interact on Twitch a lot, and it was just one of those ones that it had to start the series. You know, it just felt natural. But, you know, thank you so much. Absolutely fantastic set to kick off the series. Thank you so much for agreeing to do the battle with me and partaking in my series here. Guys, definitely, like I said before, if you aren't already following, subscribe, doing whatever you need to do to go follow Nino, all those links will be in the description down below. Definitely give them a follow if you haven't yet already. And with that, guys, I will catch you guys in a future video.